Brendan, how's everyone been mood-wise after midweek?
Yeah, clearly there was obviously disappointment in the aftermath of it, and it's always emotionally challenging and difficult. But yeah, I think you can't dwell on it. Obviously, you've got to look at it and analyse it. But very quickly, you have to move on, and that's the nature of professional sports. So we're you have that day to grieve, which is never nice. But I always think that setbacks like that are always a great opportunity to grow and bounce back even to a higher level than what you were when you started the game. So we're back on it, working well today, and then get ready for the game at the weekend.
Seeing days like that, did different characters need different things in terms of some need more of an arm around the shoulder, or just based on personality? Is it easy for them all to bounce back in the same way?
Well, no, that's the job of the manager and the leaders within the team. I think obviously the aftermath, we get back at 4:30, and then we have the free day, which is provides always a lot of thinking time. And like I say, I think after the game, I'm really disappointed for firstly the supporters. The 2 hours before the game, the noise in the stadium was amazing, and then during the game and after the game, and you feel the journey that they'd been there, and we couldn't give them more. I feel for the players, because over this last 7 months, the path that we've been on, and we will still continue to be on that path of improvement and developing an exciting team to play. And then for them, things went against us in the game, and before we know it, we've conceded 5 goals in the first half, so it becomes a challenge then in the second half. But as I said, setbacks are there to grow from. You can dwell on it and become bitter with it, but it's not something that I like to do. It's something where the job is, this is when you lead. And we've seen it last year in moments we had to be resilient, and when it's tough, you have to lead in those moments, and that's our job. So, and it's likewise here. We made a brilliant start to the season. We had a tough one, and I'm experienced enough to know that when the stakes are high and you get high level competition, that sometimes you have to expect defeat. If you don't, you're a dreamer, and if you dream in management, you won't be in it long. It's great for everyone to dream and for critics to look and think what the score is going to be and what it might be and this and that. But as a manager and a coach, when you're in the professional game, at times against the Champions League finalists, you might expect that you might actually lose, but we'll learn from it and be better for it.
What are the main lessons learned now that the dust has settled a bit? There's bound to be emotion on the night now that you've had time to process it. What are the things that you feel Celtic could have done better?
Well, just that obviously I felt in terms of our pressing, we probably went a little bit on our own, and I think because the early goals spooked us a little bit, so I think it showed that the mentality of the team, and probably the lack of experience in the team as well. That means that sometimes you can rush and come out of position, and top players will find the space. So there's a little bit of work for us to do on that front, just pressing at the wrong moments and the wrong times. And then clearly with the ball, we could have been better. We were too rushed in our play at times, which then gives good players those possibilities. But I will retain that. From if you look at the first half in itself, we conceded 2 penalties, which are soft, and then we concede 3 goals, 2 of which are absolutely brilliant strikes, and one of them takes a deflection and goes in. Still fantastic strikes from a top level young player. So before you know it, like I said, it was maybe 3-1 going in at half time, and you can then regroup, get together, and then the next goal's important. But then the 2 quick-fire goals just before half time puts you to 5-1. And then psychologically, it's a very, very difficult place to be in against such a level of opponent. But that's where I commend the players, because second half they played with courage, they played with passion, they kept fighting, showed the spirit, showed the resilience, and okay, the result wasn't anywhere near what we wanted, but we will learn from it, and like I've always said, in this competition we'll be judged in the end of January to see where we finish. So the aftermath is that we were disappointed naturally, but we will pick ourselves up and show that resilience again.
When there is a big result like that, inevitably the external narrative, people will say that, you know, the approach should have been different, the approach should be different going forward. How do you respond to people that feel there should be a huge overhaul in the way you approach games against, you know, big opposition?
Yeah, I don't feel anything. I'm not really bothered. That's my honest answer. You know, you can't turn a tap on and off. I think that people think when they see the 7 goals, I think if you analyse the game, you'll see that, you know, we were trying to press the game in the static position and then fall back into a shape, and but that wasn't to the level that we wanted on the evening. But we play how we play. It's the same plaudits that are commending our performances over the last numbers of months that allows us to get into this game with this incredible optimism that we can get a result out there. Can't just turn the tap back off and say, right, you become super defensive. It's not how we play. And so what do? Sit back, have 15% of the ball, and probably lose 3-0, 4-0. We've seen it over 6 months, teams that will come to us and sit back and play 5 at the back and 5-4-1 and, you know, with no chance to attack. Or do you play how you play, but know that the mistakes you got to sharpen your teeth in, and you got to be brighter in, you got to make quicker movements, you know, to close space. And all those things are a learning process. So and I'd much rather do that and go down with my own vision than by someone who's saying and who's never coached a game in their life or played or done whatever. So I respect the opinion, but it's not. I don't listen to it. I never have.
So that belief that if you get those tweaks right, if you manage to eradicate those mistakes, that you can really be competitive at that level against good opposition.
That's the challenge. That's the challenge. But like I said, I'm not a dreamer. You know, we want to be competitive. We want to go in there and be that. I think we showed in the first game, playing our level, playing everything, you know, right. Then we have an opportunity. There's going to be games that were a challenge for us, but we'll do our very best to get the results that we want. But as I say, we'll be judged in the end of January once the 8 games are finished, and then we'll see where the points total takes us. But I have a real belief in the group of players, how they've been working. It was a sore one the other night, and like as I said, there's lots of critique around it and how you play and how you do all of this, but that has never bothered me. We have a way of working that same way that excites supporters, has got them really positive, and the team and the club will continue on that path. But you know that, and I know that we'll bounce back to an even stronger position than what we were before we went into the game. Why? Because we'll learn from it.
Brendan, it was obviously a difficult night for all the players, but I suppose Aron got in there on his first few starts and being a centre back, he's going to feel it as well. How do you cope with him and try and lift his spirits to make sure that he doesn't sort of...
Who's that, sorry?
Aron Trusty.
Yes.
Yeah. How do you sort of try and get your arm around him after a defeat like that?
Yeah, I think it's with all the players. I think it's a reassurance. Like, I'm quite open with it. It's not something that we hide behind it and pretend it never happened. You know, we speak about it and talk through it. And the job, of course, is, like I said, is to stay calm and keep your poise and just talk the guys through and how you can sort of trampoline your way back, even beyond your start point from where you were. And it's learning and it's growth. Sadly, it's horrible at the time. It's not, you know, in that environment. When you're a player and you've that come onto you, then that's a challenge. But this group has real resilience. We can lose games, but we have a great resilience, and that's the mark of this team and this squad. And we've shown that last season, and we'll show it again this season. We just stay on the path that we're on. We believe that's how we work and how we play, and we learn from games like the other night against top level opposition.
I suppose that's evidenced by the fact that during your period here where there has been difficult results, you've always come back, you've always had, enjoyed, especially domestically, you've always enjoyed really big success as well.
Yeah, I think you have to have that for me. Like I said, you can dwell on it and go down the bitter route and start blaming everything, and we haven't got the players, we haven't got this. It doesn't really work for me. I own that the other night. I've had a number of these in my time here. It's not naivety. I've won against big opponents in big games. We beat Chelsea in an FA Cup final. A couple of weeks later, they go and win the Champions League. So I've worked in big games and won big games. So, and that's why I have that confidence that when you do lose a game of that magnitude, it is hard and it is tough, and it's really tough for a player, especially some of the first experiences. But when you've been through it, setbacks are a part of the journey. It's also a part of the ambition of where it is you want to get to. Because if you think you can get there just all plain sailing, no chance. It doesn't happen. And if we're to qualify after 8 games, there was always going to be some tough moments along the way. We had a brilliant one, Bratislava. We've had a tough one on this one. 3 points out of 6. I think it would have all taken that. So, but we'll move on from the game, and hopefully there's great learning in it.
But Brendan, you've won Champions League games at home since you've come back. Do you think that you need to get results away to qualify in the Champions League? Do you think you need that is something in the coming weeks and months that you have to achieve your ultimate ambition?
I don't think you have to, but we would want to. We would want to have results away from home. I'm very conscious that supporters are getting out of work and travelling thousands of miles in every which way they can to get there, to support the team, to give the incredible support that we have. So I'm not just going to dismiss that we don't need it. We actually want to get the results for the team and for the support base that are travelling and making all this commitment to go and see their team. We want them to be proud of their team. But in the actual just pure numbers of it, if you win your home games, then the likelihood is that you would qualify without having to win away. But we go into every game with a positive expectation to do well. And whether that was at home with Bratislava or away at Borussia Dortmund. And like I said, when the stakes are high and the competition's fierce, sometimes it might not always go your way. So you have to accept that. But winning away from home, of course, and getting results, everyone wants to do that.
Does the fact that a few of the guys that were playing on Tuesday night, Aron, Austin, Alex, came on, they're just in the door, they've done well, but they're finding their feet to a degree. Does that give you hope and optimism that you can evolve at this level and improve?
Yeah, it's those guys coming in. It's be the first taste of Champions League football, and yeah, I think that the whole team will constantly evolve and get better. I've said it before, even before the Dortmund game. I believe that this group of players will improve and get better. So from what I see every day in training, I see how we've started the season. There's still areas that I've always felt that we can be better in, even though we've been consistently at a really good level. So, but that's our work. It's not just about the results. I'm a coach that even when I'm winning and we're winning lots of games or we're winning trophies, my ultimate aim is to develop the individual player. Because if the individual player is developing, then the team will be better. And I never see it the other way about. If the individual's improving, the team will get better, and then we pull it all together as a collective. So that's the constant job of the coach and the manager, to make improvements in your players every day, and then consequentially then the team will improve.
2 games into this, so you talk about bouncing back to a higher level, Brendan. Is that something you've always found during your coaching career, that you have an identity as a way of playing, that you don't deviate from that during these kind of setbacks, that helps you, that helps the team to bounce back and improve in that way?
Yeah, I think it's having a commitment to it, but I'm not daft. I hear all the words pragmatism and all of this sort of stuff, and then whatever else gets thrown at teams that want to play, and we don't play that way to lose. We play it to win, and we also know that there's certain games and certain opponents that you have to adjust. But I've never been a coach in the main that'll sit back and want to defend and then lose 3-0. I'd rather impose a way of working to win the game, but also knowing, and I said before the game, that the quality of a team, no matter what your philosophy is, the quality of a team will push you back. And I think that our game the other night was a classic example of that. You know, you have your idea, you want to sit in, at times be compact in that mid section of the pitch. But Emery Chan or Julian Brandt, they have that quality. You know, it's a big level. You know, and there's one moment in the first half where the ball got played up to the striker, and he just plays it one touch off the side, and all of a sudden, if your winger's not quite in, he's closed the pitch. Then he plays one pass round the corner, and they're into the final third. 8, 9 out of 10 strikers, when that ball comes in, you actually get a chance to win that, because his first touch might take him back the way he comes. You double press the game, you have the ball, and then you're away. But that's a level, and if people don't recognise or see the levels that are different, then it's not a problem of mine. I know what we face, I know what we play against, and we have to do our very, very best.
It's obviously a new format, Brendan, for this competition, but 2 games into it. What have you made of it so far, and how crucial do you think goal difference may be? Because it's so tight already, obviously, 2 games, but how crucial do you think goal difference could be to where you end up finishing in the standings?
Well, time will tell. I really enjoyed the first game. The second game wasn't so good. I think it'll be tight all the way along, of course. But if you win the games that you need to win to get the points, then hopefully you would qualify like the old format. But this gives you an opportunity, I feel, to be able to do that. And games like Borussia Dortmund won't define where we're at in January, with the greatest respect.
Is there some frustration though that you don't get that chance to get them back here and put them under pressure at Celtic Park, that atmosphere behind you, and look to sort of address things and settle the score a bit?
Yeah. Well, that's the other side of it. I know. Speaking to Nuri and that after the game, that was something that they would have preferred the game to be at Celtic Park, as would I. But it's not to be. It wasn't to be. So I think that the big stadiums and the iconic grounds, when they want something, and us playing at Celtic Park, and when Celtic Park wants something, it brings you a lot closer to getting it because of the atmosphere. So that was the only downside of it. But we can't have everything. We can't have 8 games, and we can't play opponents that might give us a chance. And
how's the squad for this weekend? How's Cameron available? Is there any other injuries that came out?
Yeah, so Cam's still not available, and Greg Taylor missed the game. Felt a sort of slight problem in his calf, so he'll miss out.
Do you have a timescale for either player in terms of when they could?
Well, we're hoping that Cam will be ready for after the international break, and Greg probably won't be too far after that.
Alistair Johnson okay as well?
Ali's fine, yeah. He'd come off with a stiff back, and but he's trained. He found this morning, so he's okay.
Cameron, just a case of resting the toe. There's no other complications that have emerged just
No.
now.
I again seen him today. He's on the Ultra G, so he's working. He's putting he's waiting all on it, and it's easing off. It was just time with him, really. We had to give him that time, and now we think he'll be hopefully nearly there after the international break.
Obviously a very different type of test on Sunday. What are you expecting from Don's side?
Yeah, we'll seeing them play. They obviously in a sort of 3-5-2 structure. From the build-up, it'll go direct up to the strikers. Young Ronan Hale's done really well coming in from Cliftonville. Scored 3 goals in 7 games, and he'll have an enthusiasm to play against Celtic, I'm sure. And so they're always tough games, tight pitch. We'll have a great support there, and we aim to get back on track with a high performance level of what we've shown. And and look to bounce back with a good victory. But we know up there it's always tough.